In this video, we're looking at simple interest. So when you invest money, you receive interest on your investment and you make money. When you borrow money, you pay interest, which means obviously the bank is making more money. Now, simple interest is interest that's calculated simply on the original principal, all right? So the principal is the amount invested or borrowed, and the interest rate is usually a rate per year per annum. Now, there is a formula, which you can see on your screen there, I equals PRN, where I is your interest, P is your principal, R is your interest rate per time period, and N is the time period, the number of time periods there are. So if we look at this example here, we have 35,000, 4 years at 3.6 not dollars percent per annum. All right. So the first thing I want to do is I want to write down my formula. So I know I equals PRN, and then what I can do is write down what each of my values are, or I can put their letters above it. So I know the 35,000 is my principal, 4 years must be my time, and 3.6% is my R. All right, so now I can start to substitute these in. So I is going to equal 35,000 times my interest rate, which is 3.6. Now, you don't put 3.6 like that. Now, if you're going to put 3.6, you need to make sure you put in the percentage sign, but preferably what I prefer to do is go 3.6 over 100, okay, or 0.036, because they're the same thing. Either one works. Now, once you've done this, we can times it by our time, which is 4 years, and you end up with $5,040. So on an investment of $35,000, at the end of the 4 years, you'll make $5,040 with simple interest. So we'll have a look at another one here. That's meant to be dollar sign. So I equals PRN, my principal, my time, and my rate. So 2,520 times 2 over 100 times 250, and I'm wrong already. So why am I wrong? Now the problem is this here is per annum, which is essentially per year, but this here is in days. Not the same unit of time, can't do it. So what we need to do is convert our time into years. So 250 over 365, because it's 365 days. Now we can put this in the calculator. And we've made $34.52. All right. So make sure your units are the same. All right, so now we need to calculate the final value on the investment if you invested this. So again, same thing. I equals PRN, P and R equals $9,250 times 6 times 3.75 over 100 equals $2,081.25. Now the key word here is the final value on the investment. What we found was the interest, not the final value. So the final value is going to be how much we invested, so the 9,250 plus how much interest we made, so the 2,081.25. So the final investment is $11,331.25. So how many years will 4,200 need to be invested to earn $200 interest if the interest rate is this? So I equals PRN, here's P, oh, we have interest this time, and there's R. So problem is we need to rearrange this equation to find N, because that's what we're after this time. So remember, if I've got something like PRN, this is essentially P times R times N. So what I can do is I can divide by PR and divide by PR over here. That cancels out, and I'll just mix it up and use a different color. I get I over PR equals N, which is what we're trying to find. So my n is going to equal my interest, which we said was 200, over your principal times your rate, so 4,200 times. Now here is where you're writing it as 2.5 over 100 can sometimes get messy. We should probably write it as your decimal, so 0.025, and then you can use this in the calculator. Here we end up with 1.9 years. So to recap, the formula for simple interest is there, I equals PRN. Now remember, that only calculates your interest, not your final value. So if the question or something says find the final value that the person has, make sure you add it back onto the principal. Now some questions will ask you to find the principal, find the rate, or find the time, and on your screen there are the variations. But essentially, if you know your algebra and your inverse operations, you just change the subject of the main formula to get what the others are.